Welcome to Prem and Proper here at SDH, and welcome back to Prem and Proper on SDH. International break is over, and the Premier League getting ready back for yet another weekend coming up in short order. What we'll do is we will recap. We'll take you all the way back, and we'll lay everything out from the last time that things happened, get you ready for the weekend, and go through all the juice boxes and get you prepped for everything going on in the Premier League as we are now getting into Week 5/6. Remember, we're going to go back 2 weeks. We're going to go back 2 weeks and lay out everything that happened last time out. West Ham, Friday Night Football knocked off Luton Town by the final of 2-1. Then a very, very busy Saturday. Everton and Sheffield United, a draw at 2s at a plus 236. Fulham had a 1-0 lead to Manchester City, lost 5-1. Nottingham Forest, big win over Chelsea, 1-0 at a plus 700 at Stamford Bridge. Spurs, with the Ange ball at a minus 101, put 5 on the board past Burnley, winning 5-2. Brentford and Bournemouth, back and forth game at the G-Tech, ended up at a 2-2 draw at a plus 300. Brighton, one of the surprises of the weekend 2 weeks ago. Slight favorite at home at the Amex, put 3 on the board against Newcastle, winning 3-1. Liverpool over Aston Villa as a favorite at home at a minus 161. Crystal Palace in a crazy match at a minus 111, beat Wolves 3-2. Arsenal beat Manchester United by the final of 3-1. So that sets up standings and where everything is after 4 matches or 3 if you were Luton or Burnley, because remember, Kenilworth Road was not ready for the Luton-Burnley match early on this year. So 4 matches in as we head to match week number 5. 12 points perfect, Manchester City. 11 goals scored, 2 allowed. 10 points each. Spurs, Liverpool, West Ham, Arsenal. Goal difference is the difference. 7, 6, 5, and 4 on the plus side. 9 points Brighton are 6th. 7 points Crystal Palace in 7th. Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Villa, Manchester United. That gets you through number 11, 8, 9, 10, 11. Once again, goal difference is the difference. Plus 3, even, minus 1, and minus 2. 4 points Chelsea and Fulham, 12 and 13. Newcastle, 1-0-3, 3 points so far this year as they have lost their last 3 matches. They are in 14th ahead of Wolves, who are in 15th. Then Bournemouth with 2 points in 16th. Sheffield United is in 17th. Relegation zone right now. Everton on goal difference with 1 point. Luton, Burnley, who yet to have a point this season. So, news in and around the league. And we all know what's been going on with Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho not happy with his place at Manchester United. There was supposed to be a set of talks involving Jadon Sancho and Erik ten Hag. According to Kaveh Solokol and our friends at Sky, Erik ten Hag wants an apology.
I think the latest information we have is that one of the issues between the player and the manager now is that Erik ten Hag wants Jadon Sancho to apologise before he can return to training with the rest of the first team squad. Basically, what happened is that Sancho was left out of United's squad for the game at Arsenal before the international break. He didn't take too well to being left out of the squad, especially because his manager after the game said that he had not been selected for the squad because of performances in training. Now, Jadon Sancho got onto social media, put up this social media post, which effectively accused his manager of lying, and he basically said, "I'm not willing to be a scapegoat for any longer." Now, this was challenging Erik ten Hag's authority. This social media post stayed up on social media for a long time. I think it was viewed more than 60 million times. It was finally taken down on Tuesday. There were clear-the-air talks. At that stage, you would have thought, OK, maybe this has been sorted out. He's going to come back into training. Well, he was at Carrington today, and this afternoon, United announced a short statement saying that he wasn't going to be training with the first-team squad because of a disciplinary issue. And I think one of the problems between the player and the manager now is this apology. Because I think Erik ten Hag wants him to say sorry before he's let back into training. And it's a big problem for United. You know, lots of problems piling up for ten Hag because they've got a big game against Brighton on Saturday. He's without Anthony, and he's going to be without Jadon Sancho as well.
Manchester City, if you ask Gareth Southgate said that he got Kyle Walker to unretire, basically. He was thinking of retiring from international duty, and he got him to not think about it on 2 separate occasions. Kyle Walker, and if you haven't seen it, great piece of social media release on Kyle Walker signing a new deal with Manchester City. Here's his thoughts, courtesy of Manchester City, their own selves.
For me, my family, for everyone that's put in the hard work to get me here and to represent this fantastic club for, definitely another 2 more seasons, hopefully many more. It's a real honour. It's the team. I think that in this team there's something special. Obviously, just coming back off an amazing high of last season and winning the treble and finally getting the Champions League, which was the one trophy that we didn't have as a group and as collectively. I wanted to go and do it again. I wanted, the lads have got that hunger again to go and achieve something really special again this season, fingers crossed. So I wanted to be a part of it and I didn't want to miss out in that. I think it starts from the top with the manager and his hunger and drive to make sure that, not just every Saturday when we turn up and play a football game or if it's in a midweek, it's every training session. You need to be at 100%. And I think that starts from him. And then it's down to us senior members of the team that need to, try and make sure that the lads are probably going off of what he believes in and make sure that we're drumming that into him, day in, day out, that we need to keep these standards. We've set the standards that we have since I joined the club 7 years ago. And I don't think that we fell off. Obviously, we've not gone and won a Premier League in one of them seasons, but I still thought that we did well. We just was unfortunate that it was a very good Liverpool team that ran away with it that season. So, listen, we've set the bar, we've set the standards, and we need to just keep working on that and keep getting better if we can do, and which we need to do.
Brentford, we mentioned Brentford right now, 8th place, 6 points, drawn 3 of their first 4. And interesting piece of news here. Ivan Toney still on suspension until mid-January, but he can return to training. Sky Sports caught up with Thomas Frank to ask him about what it's like to have their lead scorer back under the tent.
Ivan is back with you. So Sunday, I'm assuming you'll have off, so he could be back with you on Monday.
Yeah.
How much of a lift will it be for everyone, yourselves, the coaching staff, the players, to have him back?
I think for us it's very good to have him back. He's a very good player, but more importantly a person to have around the group. He's training hard. He's very positive. He's bringing a lot of energy, which is very good for any group. Also, pretty sure that he's also very happy to be allowed back in to play football, being around his mates and teammates that he loves to be around.
Do you think it could give your players a lift as well? I know you're going to miss him on the pitch, but just to have him around, he's quite a vibrant guy, isn't he?
No, yeah, definitely. No doubt it will give us a lift. Of course, we prefer to have him in the team, but that's not possible. But to have him every day is definitely going to be positive, definitely.
Harry Maguire and Manchester United. Maguire has been catching a lot of guff for his national team performances. His mom came out on Instagram and defended him. Harry Maguire's like, you want to throw slings and arrows at me? It's cool. I think it makes my teammates better because it's all on me and I have no problem dealing with it. Brendan Rodgers, at his press conference, courtesy of Celtic, their own selves, addressed Harry Maguire and what he thinks the kind of footballer Harry Maguire is.
And this is a guy, if you remember, and I think it was the last World Cup. He was in the team of the World Cup. So he's not that bad a player. And I know, having working with him, if you needed someone by your side when it's tough, you'd want him beside you. He's a great man. He's very honest to the game. I know why Gareth picks him. He's been fantastic for England. Real soldier and a real leader and amongst the young players that's coming through there. And I find it a real shame that a player who is a very good player and who at the time when he went into Manchester United probably was needing leading himself, being a new player, but he found himself very quickly to be the Manchester United captain. But I can't speak highly enough of him. He's a fantastic man. I see the noise and that goes around him, which is a real shame. It's just sad that where it was created from. But he's tough. He's mentally strong, and he'll prove throughout the rest of his career that he's a very, very good player. And like I say, you don't go from being in a team of the World Cup and being recognised as a top international player to people making fun of you. And that's something that, of course, you have to deal with as a player, and sometimes a manager as well. But you'll get through it.
Arsenal right now in fifth. We mentioned them. They're at right now they're in the Europa League spot right now. If the season ended at the 10% poll, fifth place, 4 matches in 10 points. Alan Smith was asked by our friends at Sky Sports News what he thought about Arsenal's chances to win a title this year.
I think so. There's no reason why they can't have just as good a season as last, if not better, having added to the squad. Obviously, they've got the Champions League challenge as well to balance on those Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then, having that focus, that energy, concentration at the weekend. But that all comes with being a successful club. And, obviously Manchester City are the yardstick. But I think Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus coming back into it, getting his goal against Manchester United, is good news. I think Kai Havertz will settle eventually. I think he's a good signing for the club. Obviously, Declan Rice is. I think I've got high hopes for this coming season. Can't afford too many slip-ups, with City looking like they'll win every game at the moment. But I think for Arsenal fans, another very exciting campaign.
And then one of the more interesting stories is the ever-evolving story of Jesse Lingard. Where is he? Where is he going? What's he going to do? It looks like Jesse Lingard's going to West Ham on a free. Here's the situation with West Ham and Jesse Lingard on campus. West Ham in fourth, courtesy of our friends at Sky Sports News.
He's been speaking positively about him. Good morning, Rob. It's definitely a chance, isn't it? It's a player that David Moyes knows well. I'm going to step aside, and my cameraman, he's got his work cut out today because they're moving around the players. But Jesse Lingard is here training with the players right now. He's been with the squad for the last few weeks. It is Premier League registration deadline day today, so Premier League clubs have to confirm their squads. Though if you've got a team that hasn't got 25 players over the age of 21, they can register these players at a later date, which West Ham do fall into that bracket. So it doesn't need to be a signing they need to make today. But look, he's training with the players. You can see him now on your screens at the moment. He's been having fun with the players. He knows them very well from his time back here in 2021, where he performed superbly. 9 goals in 16 matches during that time was a big reason why West Ham qualified for the Europa League at the back end of 2021. David Moyes knows him from his time at Manchester United too. This is a player with a vast amount of experience, played at a World Cup for England in 2018. They know his qualities, and they'll have to wait and see whether he's going to be the player that they look to bring in and give him a permanent deal. But look, he's enjoying himself with his players at the moment. International break is over. There's a few players you'll recognise who've been on international duty. Mikel Antonio's here. We've seen Vladimir Sufal, who did come off injured for the Czech Republic, but he's in training, so he looks like he's put past that little knock. There were reports that James Ward-Prowse was carrying an injury too, but he's out here training with the players. And Jarrod Bowen, another one, is here as well. He's nominated for the Premier League Player of the Month award for August. But look, Jesse Lingard's enjoying himself with his West Ham players as they prepare to take on Manchester City on Saturday.
Other news going on in the Premier League once again. Folks were staying, folks were going, then all of a sudden they weren't. Transfer windows come and go, and that's where we are when it comes to everything rolling their way back in. You go into the papers, and once again, we always avoid the 3 and the 4-letter paper. Jadon Sancho training away from Manchester United's first team after he refused to apologize. Avoiding the 4 and the 3-letter papers as we do, and looking at the Times, a Football League manager who plays bets on matches, escaped with a formal warning after being investigated by the FA. Also, Daily Express, Arsenal are reportedly bracing themselves for Juve to try and poach Thomas Partey in January as a replacement for Paul Pogba. Also, from other papers, Tomiyasu has admitted he needs to be more confident once he returns to Arsenal following the international break. Ibrahima Konate is back in training for Liverpool, giving Jurgen Klopp a solution to another defensive headache this weekend. Daily Record, Jota continues to face an anxious wait over his future, with Nuno Espirito Santo no closer to revealing his next steps. And then the other news is from Scotland. A lot of folks are getting into their ideas. Jakub Kiwior is ready to shine for Arsenal after his whirlwind. No release clause is in the João Palhinha deal with Fulham. Interesting, as Palhinha is going to be staying for the next couple of years. And the predictions across the board when it comes to the matchups this weekend, Wolves and Liverpool, we know a lot of folks are looking at Liverpool as a big score predictor. Villa and Crystal Palace, one of the threes. That one could be a back and forth. Fulham and Luton, interesting one there. Manchester United and Brighton, how are folks leaning on this one? A lot of folks might be leaning toward Brighton. You've got Spurs looking to put up a big number perhaps on Sheffield United. West Ham and Manchester City, same for the Citizens. Newcastle and Brentford, the late game on Saturday. Brentford's got a very busy week. You start with Brentford, AC Milan, and then you go to Sheffield, and then you've got Sheffield United all in a week's time. Chelsea continuing to chase after Ivan Toney come January. So what happens there? Bournemouth and Chelsea, what happens there? Folks might be looking at Chelsea to put up a number, but they haven't been able to do so this season. Everton and Arsenal, big number looked at for Arsenal in that one. Forest and Burnley is Monday Night Football. Interesting matchup at the bottom of the table. If Forest is going to stay up, they need points in matchups like this. If Burnley is going to stay up, they need wins in a situation like this. So we'll see what happens with those matchups. Looking at your juice boxes, getting you ready for the weekend as we've kind of previewed the matches themselves. Here's how it looks. Very, very busy Saturday. 7 matches on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and then 1 on Monday Night Football. Wolves and Liverpool are your early match, 7:30 Eastern time. Liverpool on the road at the Molineux, a minus 222. The Wolves at home are almost a plus 600. 10 o'clock, and there are 5 matches. Villa, a home favorite at a minus 110 to Crystal Palace, who's north of plus 300. Fulham at Craven Cottage, a minus 145, hosting Luton at a plus 4.25. Manchester United on the plus side, hosting Brighton, who's a plus 200, and your draw's a plus 300. Manchester United a plus 121. Spurs a big favorite at home, no surprise to Sheffield United at a minus 357. Sheffield United to win, almost a plus 1,000. West Ham hosting Manchester City. Manchester City's a minus 204, and the Hammers are a plus 563. Late game on Saturday, it is Newcastle minus 185 hosting Brentford at St. Mary's. Brentford is north of plus 515. Your 2 games on Sunday, Bournemouth hosting Chelsea at the Vitality. Chelsea's a minus 1.25. Bournemouth a plus 336 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Late game on Sunday, Everton and Arsenal. Arsenal's a minus 189 at Goodison Park. Everton is north of plus 512. Monday Night Football, Nottingham Forest is a plus 129 at City Ground, hosting Burnley, who is north of plus 215. Once again, those numbers are courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal, and what they do is they take 16 or so, depending on the matchup, different juice box purveyors, throw them into a pile, take the average, and go from there. A couple of other pieces of news from Arsenal's front office. Their chief executive officer, Vinay Venkatesham, has announced he's going to leave next summer after almost 4 years in the role. He joined the commercial department. He joined them in 2010. So big news for Arsenal as Vinay Venkatesham is going to be leaving. That's courtesy of our friend Nick Ames at The Guardian. Also, in checking to see if there's any other news. If you missed it, Richarlison, Spurs forward, plans to see a psychologist after his Brazil duty. Hence that off-field issues have affected his recent form. He's going to seek psychological help after a turbulent time off the pitch. Had not scored for his country since the World Cup. Pictured in tears after being substituted during Brazil's 5-1 World Cup qualifying win against Bolivia in Belém on Friday. He says he told El Globo, Brazilian newspaper, I went through a turbulent time off the pitch during these past 5 months. Now things are a bit more stable at home. People who only had their eye on my money are no longer closer to me. I'm going to return to England and seek psychological help from a psychologist to strengthen my mind. That's what it's about, to come back stronger. Things are going to flow now, and I'm certain I will have a good run at Tottenham and will make things happen again. So, very, very cool stuff to hear from Richarlison, and hoping that he finds the help and the answers, obviously, that he is looking for when he comes back from international duty. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we go involving individual players. Chelsea and Reece James earmarked by Real Madrid as a long-term replacement for Spain's Dani Carvajal. James, remember, signed a 6-year deal back in 2022. Manchester City have agreed in principle to Boca Juniors' 19-year-old Valentin Barco, predominantly playing at left back. That's from Herman Garcia Grova. Arsenal's Martin Odegaard and Ben White set to commit their long-term futures to the Gunners by signing long-term deals. Manchester United's Hannibal Mabry is wanted by Besiktas on loan after the Turkish side recently had a permanent deal rejected for the midfielder. Manchester United, Jadon Sancho, we discussed that. Jesse Lingard training with West Ham still. Offers from Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and MLS. Since leaving Nottingham Forest, those are on the table. Joao Palhinha could still make a move to Bayern Munich, by the way, despite signing the contract extension with Fulham. Former Chelsea keeper Asmir Begovic has labeled his old club a mid-table squad on the Byline podcast and adds, what has happened to Chelsea Football Club? It just beggars belief. Liverpool have no intention of terminating Thiago Alcantara's contract to enable him to secure a move to Turkey. Trabzonspor want to sign him to a 3-year deal. Başakşehir have agreed on a loan deal to sign Emmanuel Dennis from Nottingham Forest. Konyaspor reached an agreement in principle with England winger Andros Townsend after he left Everton in the summer. Saudi side El Shabab have opened talks with John Terry over a coaching role. It comes from Nicola Shearer. And former Brighton and Chelsea manager Graham Potter holding out for an offer from a Champions League club after being sounded out by Rangers to replace Michael Beale. And Demirspor are in talks, Adana Demirspor, full team name, in talks over re-signing Mario Balotelli from Sion in the Swiss League. So that is your gossip room and innuendo as you get yourself ready for your action this weekend in the Premier League. So for everybody here at SDH, enjoy the action this weekend as everything picks back up for another month. Schedule compression, here it comes. Play it safe, everybody. We'll catch up with you. Enjoy your games in the Premier League here. That's another edition of Prem and Proper at SDH.